Hey, what's up? So the Steelers just signed wide receiver Miles Boykin. He was formerly of the Baltimore Ravens. He was on the team last year as a fourth, even fifth, I don't know, sometimes third wide receiver behind Pickens and Deontay Johnson. So they brought Miles Boykin back. This is a depth move, special teams player. Um, he was with the Baltimore Ravens, and I forget where he was. He was a high draft pick and kind of flattened out with Baltimore. A lot of people said he didn't do good with Baltimore because he has Lamar Jackson throwing to him. So the Steelers picked him up, and he was a special teams player last year for us, and they're going to bring him back as a depth move. This is following the Allen Robinson they just picked up from the Rams. Allen Robinson. Um, was a really good wide receiver a few years back. Then he got bounced around with ankle the last 2 years. He had off years, so the Steelers picked him up. The Steelers don't really have a third or fourth wide receiver. They had Calvin Austin, the third, who they had last year. They had drafted last year, and then he got hurt, so he was unable to play. So Calvin Austin will be coming back. You have Austin, Boykin, and Anderson all competing for third and fourth wide receiver position. This doesn't mean that they're not going to draft a wide receiver. They could still go after someone like Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison had an ankle problem, so he could maybe drop to 2A or 2B. I don't see them grabbing a wide receiver first. Really, the Steelers last week they signed safety Keanu Neal and Deontay Kaze. Kazie's a ball hawk who's really good at reading the wide receiver's eyes, really good at reading the quarterback's eyes and getting interceptions. He's not so good at tackling, even though he likes to throw his body around. He's not the best at reading the run, but he's great ball hawk. And you have Keanu Neal, who's a good in the box safety. He's good at attacking the run. So these two are like you could use Keanu Neal on first down and second down, and then bring in Kazi on third down with Minka, or if you use a three safety package. Or they could still bring in a safety. There was rumors that Buda Baker wanted to come out of the Cardinals. Buda Baker asked to be traded. The Steelers salivating over the idea of Buda Baker and Minka Fitzpatrick that would be the two best safety pat in the league. You know, with Kazi and Neal, you have adequate players who could blossom. They're still young. They're in their entering their fifth, 6 years, so they could still become better. But they're considered, Kazi's a great interception, but we don't know that he can be an everyday guy. So you could possibly, they're comfortable at every position. They also signed Fehoko and who was the other Arman Watts at nose tackle, and they have Adams at nose tackle already. So they don't have to draft at any position. The Steelers have also signed earlier in the season. They signed Cole Holecomb, inside linebacker, and Elando Roberts. Inside Elando Roberts is a fast linebacker that can stop the run, and Cole Holecomb is also a run-stopping linebacker who also is Pro Bowl caliber player with Cole Holcomb. He's a very highly rated. He's an 85 on Madden on them last year, and so they're really embarrassed about this. And so they brought in Holcomb and two run stopping guys, and maybe they could do a little better in pass coverage on the Steelers, considering they're going to have Watt and Highsmith on the outside, adding the pressure. Now with Fehoko and Arman Watts in the middle, you have two guys that can start. This isn't an instant benching for Adams either. Adams is a young player who can still get better, and these three will all compete for the job. It doesn't mean they're not going to draft a nose tackle. If they can jump up and get a Jalen Carter, the guy who's expected to be like as good as Casey Hampton, then they might jump up and grab a Jalen Carter. But they're nowhere near where they could wait at 17 and get Brian Branch, Alabama safety, the best safety in the draft. They could pick up Branch and start him, and then use Neal like they used Marcus Allen as an additional linebacker, and use Kazi just as they used Kazi last year as a ball hawk, interception hawk. We'll set him free just to study the quarterback eyes. where you have a traditional safeties behind him. So you could bring in Branch, and then also you don't have to start any rookie. No rookie has to start right away. Like when you had Artie Burns come in a couple years back, and he had to come in and play cornerback right away, and the expectations are high, and whether he was a bust or not, he's unable to live up to those high expectations. So you don't have any rookies coming in now expecting to start. Like you had Devin Bush come in expecting to start. There was no room for Devin Bush to develop. He had to be Singletary. He had to be Levon Kirkland right out of the gate. Otherwise, he was a bust. And there's a lot of guys that were real busts, like Jermaine Stevens and Huey Richardson, who never saw the field at all. And those are the real busts. These ridiculous headlines like Devin Bush is the biggest bust in history. Everything has to be the biggest of all time. Like you go to a concert and it was the best concert of all time. And it wasn't the worst pick of all time. The guy played for 3 years. So clearly it wasn't the worst pick of all time. There's picks that have never seen the field at all. So Devin Bush is an okay player. He might get better. He had a bad knee problem. He's fast, but the Steelers have definitely upgraded that situation by getting Cole Holecomb. Cole Holecomb also is the Steelers, was the Washington Commanders' best player. So we picked up the best player off of Washington. This guy is a beast. I happened to play against the Commanders on Madden, and their team is terrible. The only good player was Holcomb, and Holcomb was stopping Najee in the backfield like 3 or 4 times. And I go, oh man, I'm glad the Steelers got this guy, especially as a Madden player. He's rated 85, so he is very highly rated. I think the Holcomb and Roberts are going to make the defense better. But again, it doesn't mean they're not going to draft an inside linebacker. They don't have to start anyone at any position. The Steelers are in the position now where they could bring in a rookie to train. They got Patrick Peterson, all-pro cornerback. So that's going to make your cornerback better. And then they're bringing back Levi Wallace, Witherspoon, and they signed Pierre. Pierre's a fast guy who's still up and coming and can still develop into a good player. So it's good they keep Pierre around. And as time goes on, these guys become veterans that you can really trust. So Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace are 2 good starting cornerbacks. And with Pierre and Witherspoon, you're not terrible in the slot. You can draft a guy. They might go up and get Joey Porter Jr., Jay Peasy, and bring back some of that good Steelers mojo. But not only that, but he's one of the best cornerbacks in the draft. And the Steelers could really use a cornerback like Joey Porter Jr., and they could train Joey Porter Jr. underneath Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace. So Joey Porter wouldn't have to start right away. They could baby him along, or any player. They also might be looking at an offensive tackle. Now, I don't think the Steelers are as unhappy with their offensive line as people think. Mike Tomlin started rebuilding the offensive line in 2020 when he put Kendrick Green, Dotson, Moore Jr., Okafor, and the other right guard on the line. He started all these rookies. Kendrick Green didn't work out, and they got James Daniels at right guard, but Dotson, Moore Jr., and Okafor are still there. They'll be entering their 4th years of development. And just because they signed Siamalu and Herbig, I don't know that that's an instant benching for Dotson. Dotson, for one, will probably be given a chance to compete for his job. James Daniels probably entrenched at the right guard. Now, is Cole entrenched at center? I don't know. Herbig is also listed at center, so Herbig could come in and compete at center. You could see a line that features Moore Jr., Siamalu, Herbig, James Daniels, or you could see Moore Jr., Dotson, Cole, James Daniels, and Okafor, just like last year with Siamalu and Herbig backing up. I don't know that it's an instant benching for Dotson. Dotson and Siamalu are actually rated very closely on Madden. Dotson's a 78. And Siamalu is a 79. Siamalu, I might be mispronouncing his name, but the new right guard coming over from Philly, he's number 5 ranked against with a run blocking. So his run blocking is definitely superior to Dotson. But again, Dotson's a young player who may develop and he still has a high ceiling. So I don't expect this to be an instant benching for Dotson. I expect Dotson to be able to compete for the job with Ciamalo edging him out and taking the job in preseason. So you're going to have Dotson dropping down to a backup position, which is a really good position for the Steelers to be in. And heck, I wish I could be a backup player for the Steelers earning X million dollars. As far as feeling bad for Dotson, but Dotson should be given a chance to hold on to his job. And this brings me around to say that I don't know how unhappy they are with Moore Jr. either, because yeah, he allowed 6 sacks his rookie year, 7. It's still not an outrageous number of sacks allowed. They do want to protect Kenny Pickett, but Moore Jr. is a pretty decent left tackle. He's not a terrible guy. He's also a guy who's still developing. Tomlin doesn't like to bench guys in the middle of a developmental process, so they don't have to draft an offensive tackle. Everyone has them moving up to grab an offensive tackle, but they don't absolutely have to grab an offensive tackle. They brought in a guy, I forget his name offhand, but he's brought in. They did bring in a guy that can back up Moore Jr. and Okafor. I think they're happy with Okafor. I believe Okafor's going to keep his job uncontested. I think James Daniels is going to be uncontested. And I don't know about Cole, Dotson, and Moore Jr., but it's not a lock that they bring in a left tackle. They might be comfortable with Moore Jr. a lot more than people think. And they might be more comfortable with Dotson more than people think. But I know bringing in Herbig and Ciamalo doesn't bode well for Dotson, but I think he'll be given an opportunity to hold on to his job. So where will the Steelers draft? I don't know. They could even pick up a wide receiver, but you're going to go into it with Deontay Johnson's and Pickens, you're 1 and 2. Pickens might pass up Johnson as 1. I have Pickens number 1, Johnson number 2, Calvin Johnson number 3 right now. And I think that's how the Steelers have going in. But someone like Allen Robinson has a career year. You could potentially see a 2A and a 2B. And the way these guys get injured and nicked up, you're going to need all of them throughout the year. They could even pick a tight end. There was a star tight end that they think if you can get the next Jason Witten or Heath Miller, you're really comfortable at tight end because you have Gentry, you have I almost said Heath Miller, but you have Gentry, you have Pat Freiermuth, and you have Connor Hayward, who had a good year. So you don't really need a tight end. The Steelers don't need any position, which brings me to the final segment. Where is the most likely for a rookie going to be able to start? If you get a rookie on the Steelers, where can a rookie start? Let's take a look at that. Where are the most likely places for a rookie to start on the Steelers? Okay. Let's take a look position by position. Watt, okay, he's not going to unseat Watt. Cole Holecomb, probably not going to unseat Cole Holecomb. Elando Roberts, probably not. Elando Roberts, probably going to be your starter. Highsmith, probably going to be your starter again. Hayward, you're not going to unseat. Nose tackle. Now, nose tackle is a position a rookie could possibly start. You got Arman Watts, you got Fehoko, and you got Adams. You got 3 extremely above average players who might turn out great, but they're new to the team. A rookie could potentially come in and start, but it's going to be very difficult to pass those 3 guys up. Ogunjobi's probably a lot there, so no. Levi Wallace probably has the number 2 cornerback locked up, so it's going to be really hard for a rookie to start at cornerback. But he could be a third. You could bring him along. So they could unseat Wallace. If Peasy's great, he could unseat Wallace, but I don't see anyone unseating Wallace coming in as a rookie. Fitzpatrick obviously is not going to get unseat. Now, safety is the most likely to me where a rookie could come in and start. If you get Branch, he could come in and start right away because Neal is like your third line. Keanu Neal's a good player, but he's like your third linebacker. And Kazi's like your ball hawk. So you don't have a real starter there. So to me, safety with Branch makes the most sense. Or left tackle, moving over to offense. On defense, safety seems like the only position anyone could start, possibly number 2 cornerback. seems like the only place anyone could start. Possibly number 3 inside linebacker, possibly nose tackle. But again, the Steelers don't have any glaring needs. To me, safety is the most. I'm sorry to Kazi and Neil; these two are great players in their specialty roles. But as far as a full-time starter, you could still, I think Branch should be your full-time starter. And as far as your other could be left tackle, someone to come in and challenge more junior, push more junior, maybe not surpass them, maybe more junior, maybe Dotson hold on to your job, but you bring in a left tackle to challenge him or train behind him. If you can get Jordan Addison late to bring him in as a slot, you can get a wide receiver, but again, they don't need anything anywhere. So let me know your thoughts. I almost forgot the most important thing was that the Steelers have that extra pick, and they said that Mike Tomlin alluded the fact that they don't have any glaring needs. They're not chasing a quarterback, so they could chase because the Miami Dolphins got stripped of their 32nd pick. We get the 32nd pick, which is kind of like 2 first-round picks. We have 17 and 32, and then we pick again at 54 or whatever it is. So Tomlin said that since they don't have any glaring needs, they are thinking about trading that 32nd pick, whether they'll trade it away and move 17 up and get Jalen Carter or that offensive tackle that they want, or because they don't need to trade up to get Branch. People feel like Branch is going to be available down at around 17. So who knows what they're going to do, or they could end up with like 3 third-round picks because you can get an offensive tackle, inside linebacker, and nose tackle second round. You don't necessarily need to even someone like Brian Besse could be like a 2B. So the Steelers are in a really good position. I don't remember ever a time where the Steelers just loaded up everything. Like I was saying earlier, when they had to start Artie Burns right away as a rookie. Steelers aren't in that situation now where they have to start anybody. You could take the Steeler team in right now and be okay and compete for a Super Bowl. And they're only going to get better in the draft. Can Kenny Pickett compete with Trevor Lawrence? Yes. Can he compete with Joe Burrow? Yes. Can he compete with Pat? Look, I hate Chris Collinsworth, but Collinsworth was already making your Patrick Mahomes comparison when Kenny Pickett scrambled in the Baltimore game and he threw a touchdown in the last second of he hit Najee Harris and he scrambled and so yeah, Kenny Pickett can compete with those guys. None of them are supermen. We're all humans here, so I think the Steelers can compete, and they will. I expect the Steelers not to be great next year, but 2024, I really look for the Steelers to be back on top of the division. Again, to summarize everything, I think that safety is the only position that a rookie can really start. Maybe left tackle. There's no other positions that anyone could start. And I was wondering, is Cole entrenched at center? Or might they draft a center, or might they let Herbig compete at center? It's going to be interesting, and I know it's summertime, but here in Pittsburgh we talk Steelers year round, and we already are looking forward to training camp. Go Steelers! As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to visit sunnyhippies.com. I got to get my SSL certificate updated, but moving forward, you can always go to sunnyhippies.com to find some awesome custom image tie-dyes made by yours truly. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe today.